Welcome to the last episode of 2021 for Backpass with Ras. And with me, I have our resident young man and part-time wrestling and boxing announcer, Kelvin Singh. How are you doing, Kelvin?
Thank you, Ras. Wow, I didn't expect the part-time, but I had fun doing the wrestling announcement recently at the UFC gym.
Yeah.
But really, thank you for having me again. I think today we're going to have a really special show.
And I want you to introduce the guest, the
Of
first
course.
guest like that.
100%. Oh, okay. So like how I did the UFC.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to put on my voice first, yeah?
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest today, live from Goodison Park. His name, Harjinder Singh, weighing at 73, maybe 70 kgs. A record of 000. His debut is today at for Backpass with Ras. He is an MC, a DJ, an educator, a businessman, father of three. Without further ado, he called himself the maestro, Mr. Harjinder Singh. Welcome to the show, Harjinder.
Thank you, Kelvin. Thank you, Ras. Thank you for having me over.
Welcome. And we have another guest with us. And this guy, well, what can I say about him? A very genuine man, well-spoken, the sophisticated Keng Wei Tek from the Singapore Everton Supporters Club.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Welcome to the show, guys. Wei Tek and Jinder.
Yes.
I hope you have a good time on the show.
Very happy to
We
be
will.
here. Right.
Happy to
Yeah, I
be
hope
here.
you're all well as well.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, welcome. Okay. So anyways, this show, our attention normally is on football in the 90s and the noughties. But this week, we make an exception and visit the 80s for you. So Everton had a glorious period in the mid-80s. Who was the manager at that time and what was their style of play, Wei Tek?
Yeah, actually, the manager at the time was Howard Kendall. Yeah, he is actually a club legend. He was a great player with Everton during the 60s time. And, he was a fantastic manager. I think the way the team played, actually, the philosophy was very pleasing to the eye. They really relied a lot on team spirit, very together. And actually, the team didn't have that many big stars, I mean, we did have Peter Reid, Neville Southall, but not really many big stars in that sense. But the thing that stand out was the way they connected with each other, the chemistry of the team. The way they played together was just fantastic to watch. And I must say that the confidence was really high. And sometimes in the dressing room, even before the match started, you see the way they come out, you see the other team come out. Wow, the other team look at Everton. It's like they already know they're going to be defeated, even before the match started. That was the confidence we had at the time. So it was a fantastic time to be an Evertonian. Fantastic to be alive. Yeah.
Okay, Jinder, Wei Tek touched on a couple of players. I want you to tell us more about the key players that were in these teams that Everton had, the glorious teams Everton had. Tell us about these players.
I think what Wei Tek put it, that was our great years, the best years. That was like United in that era,
Exactly.
doing really well. So the players that Howard Kendall brought in was, people like Neville Southall, 17 years in the club. The Stevens, Gary Stevens, Trevor Stevens, Sheedy, what a great crosser of a ball he was. Peter Reid, holding the midfield together. And of course, in defense, we got Radcliffe, Derek Mountfield. And forward, we had Andy Gray, who basically saved Howard Kendall from his job. He was on the verge of getting fired, in fact. And not forgetting Graham Sharp, who is still part of the club, being the ambassador and leading his line very well. So it was a great team, and Howard Kendall didn't stop there. He kept on building on that. And shortly after that, Adrian Heath came in, and then Gary Lineker came in. And Gary Lineker on record has put it clearly, Everton was the best club he has ever played for, although it was only one season. So it was a phenomenal team. Unfortunately, that journey did not stay very long with us. Just unfortunate. We got to thank a certain team for that.
Yeah. Okay. I think it must be your neighbors from the red half of Merseyside, I guess.
Yeah, not mentioning.
We get the hint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some great names you've mentioned there. I remember some of them. Well, of course, in my time when I started watching the 90s, Andy Gray's commentary was legendary for us. Was soundtrack to many
Yes.
memorable games as a Manchester United fan. And of course, Peter Reid managed a few teams. So I remember Gary Stevens. I remember him as well through my father. And Neville Southall was still playing in the 90s.
Yes, he
Yeah,
was.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to know from the both of you, what was this period like as an Evertonian? Maybe Jinder can go first.
I mean, I'm the younger one here. I'll go first.
Okay.
It was okay. I was just a small little boy. It was nice to be following a club that was in the verge of just getting success, and it was not success for a season. It was success after success. So it was good to follow that team. And like Waitak said, the philosophy and the football they played was very pleasing to the eyes. And there was a true leader. In fact, it was just not Kevin Ratcliffe. There were a couple of leaders who was leading from front to back. So anyone who could step in to be a natural captain in the team. And they were playing not just as a couple of good individuals, it's a team identity. And that put us together. And I think that era made us really, made the blue half of Merseyside feel really special. And we could say really clearly Merseyside was blue at that period of time.
Okay, Waitak, your views on that era?
Yeah, frankly, it was like walking on air, It's like you were flying at that period, Yeah, it's crazy. It's just like Jinder said, just like Man United in the 1990s. You can, Russ and Calvin, you know very well. You're the best in England, and you knew it, and everyone was the envy of you, envying you. And I will always remember the day. I still remember the day even until now. Don't know how many years later. The day when I heard on the BBC radio. That time got no live telecast.
Oh, yes.
No Mio TV all.
Yeah.
But I still remember the moment when
Kevin, you know that or not?
Bro,
Resident young man, he won't know.
Oh my God, yeah.
I wasn't born.
Oh my God, I feel old now.
Yeah, BBC.
Yeah, and the feeling I remember when they announced that Pat Van Den Hauwe scored the winner at Norwich City, to win the championship for Everton 1987. And I still remember that moment because it's like, wow, when your team wins the league, you feel like you're on top of the world. Nothing can bring you down. And the funny thing is that I supported them in 1986. That was after the 1985 glory years, that Jinder will know. So I actually missed that part, And that team in 86, 87 was already such a strong team. And I thought that they were the best around. And only later when I read the history books, and then I realized that they had even better period before that, in 84, 85, when we won the European Cup Winners' Cup. And then I realized, whoa, that must have been really special, because that was even better. So that my love for Everton was even stronger because of that, and the history. And like Jinder also said, it didn't last for too long, because after that there was quite a steep decline, I would say. The players started leaving, the manager changed, and unfortunately, of course, Liverpool started to take over. But that period will always be remembered as something that will never be forgotten.
Yeah, I think it's also very important that you remind our guests, our listeners, that in the 1980s, how many games did Everton have to play in a normal league season? I don't think
42.
It's 38. I think 42, right?
Exactly.
And how many
42.
substitutes you had?
Oh, like 2.
3.
No,
No,
not 3,
2.
not 3 yet. Yeah.
I think
Just
it was 2.
It was
One
about
goal.
1 or 2, I remember. You only allowed to make 1 or 2 sub.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Pardon?
Calvin? Yeah.
I was thinking you got 2 players on the bench, so 1 goalkeeper and then just 1 outfield player.
No, I think they had probably 3 or 5 players on the bench, but you only allowed to make 1 substitution.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Is that right, Waitak and Jinder?
That's right. That's
Something
right.
like that.
That's
Yes.
right.
You only had
That's
like
right.
3 substitutes on the bench, and you
And
could
you
only
make
make 1
2.
or 2. Yeah, that's all. Not 7 like now, Yeah.
I think to add on to what Waitak said, right, the decline of Everton was largely due because of English club not given the permission to participate in Europe for 6 years. And that ban hit us really badly because we were playing really good football, and any footballer would want to play in Europe. And that was taken away from us. And unfortunately, that came with a heavy price. A lot of players left us, and the team started to decline. And Howard Kendall himself, after that league championship that we won, he left for Atletico Bilbao. So we lost a good manager. We lost many good players, and we're feeling the effects. Who knows what Everton would have been if they were still in Europe at that period in time. They would have probably grew. They would have probably got investors, and we would have been somewhere today. I strongly believe so that he really hit us hard.
Just to add on is that
Yeah.
is that at that period I think Everton were in such a strong period. They were in a very good moment. The chemistry was there, and you could see that not just in England but in Europe, I think they were ready to make a strong push for the European Cup. And exactly at the period, as Jinder highlighted, was the time when we couldn't do it, and no doubt there was some momentum was lost from there.
Yeah, just to give you an overview, Everton, this is what they've won. League champions twice, FA Cup winners once, League Cup winners once, 4 times Charity Shield winners, and 1 time Cup Winners' Cup winners. And that was about in a space of, I think, 3 years, 4 years.
To correct you, Russ, Everton never won the League Cup.
They didn't win the League Cup.
Yeah,
they were runners up in that year, 83, 84, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, 83 they lost to Liverpool. Actually, that's the era they lost a couple of cup games to Liverpool, and the 83-84 League Cup, 86 FA Cup final, 89 FA Cup final as well.
At the period is like at the period is like when you turn on the TV to watch football, a high chance you will see Everton and Liverpool walking out at Wembley. Because it was happening so often, Yeah, it's like like Man United and Man City now, something like that. So interesting.
Don't talk about United now, man. This is just
we'll get to today's times later. Okay, so from the 80s, I think Liverpool were also winning before Everton started their period of dominance, right?
Yeah.
And then there was also, of course, before that, you had Leeds United, you had Derby County, Nottingham Forest. All these teams had their periods where they were doing well, and then came along Everton. So coming to a more modern time, when I was already a fan now, from the 80s to the 90s, 1994-1995 season, Waiter, please share with us the road to Wembley for Everton that season.
Oh my God, yeah. It's like, a tear came down my cheek when I was watching the 1995 FA Cup final. I still remember I was in my army, at that time. That's how old I am. I was in the army and doing my guard duty somehow. But luckily, as God willing, there was a TV in the duty room and I could watch it. And I always remember when Dave Watson punched the air in delight, really my tears started rolling down. And because the fact is that it was almost impossible for Everton to win the FA Cup that year. We were nearly on the relegation places, and nobody gave us a chance. But somehow, and don't forget, we were like suffering for a number of years really. That time, the Everton glory years were long gone. 91, 92, 95, we were always near the bottom places. And somehow in that particular year, we found somehow that chemistry in the team. Joe Royle was the manager, and he did a good job to gel everything together. And we found an identity of a very tough tackling, very dogs of war. We had a central midfield of Joe Parkinson and Barry Horn. That is like, nobody's dream midfield, but they were so hardworking that they, were tackling everything. Sometimes they even tackle each other, we found an identity, and somehow, round by round, we managed to advance. And the semi-final was the game that all Evertoners will remember. I'm sure Harjinder will remember.
Against Spurs.
Tottenham Hotspur in Ellen Road, and Tottenham were the favourites, the clear favourites. They had Jurgen Klinsmann, they had a good team.
Teddy Sheringham, Darren Anderton,
Exactly, and somehow we didn't just win, we beat them 4-1. And it was one of the best displays Everton ever gave.
Daniel Amokachi.
Amokachi. Russ, are you an Everton fan with this guy? No. You know everything.
I know.
No.
Yeah.
And so it was fantastic. And I think from there, we had a feeling that maybe we could win it. But in the final, we played, lo and behold, Manchester United. And this was the United team that had Eric Cantona, they had Ryan Giggs, they had everybody. And United was the overpowering favourites. There was no way Everton could win. And somehow, again, we played a good game. And Paul Rydock was on fire that season. He managed to score the winning goal. And somehow United, they were not at their best in the final, somehow. And Neville Southall made a few great saves, and by miracle that we managed to win it. And against Man United, that was maybe even more unbelievable. So it was a fantastic time. Yeah.
Okay, Jinder, I want you to talk us through that final from your perspective. So Waiter's already shared his. Tell me
Uh,
about it.
Three things stood out for me in that season. It was a tough season. Mike Walker brought us to the lowest places start of the season, and Joe Royal came in. The best thing he did, first thing, was to formalize the transfer of Duncan Ferguson. And we all know what a legend he has become for the club today.
Yeah, yeah.
Took us from the brink of relegation, survived, and took us to a good cup run. And during the cup run, the one thing that stood out was, I think, apart from Jürgen Klinsmann, only penalty in the semi-final, we had a clean run. We never conceded a single goal. So that's quite amazing for a team that was struggling, and we had an identity and we went well. The second thing that stood out, you mentioned Daniel Amokachi, and I don't know whether Waiter, you know this or not, but do you know Joe Royal did not make that substitution for Amokachi to come on?
Exactly. I knew that, and it was really funny. Yeah.
So this is the story behind where Jimmy Gabriel was approached by Amokachi. Rideout was injured. In fact, he was injured during before the game, but he managed to start. And seeing Rideout injured, he handed a paper over to Jimmy Gabriel and said, "This is the instruction from the manager. Take out Rideout, put me in." And off he went, and the rest is history, lah. He went on to score 2 goals. And back in the dressing room after the game, Joe Royal told him, "Well done, son, but don't ever try that trick again."
Exactly. And
Right?
Joe Roy said it was the best substitution he never made.
He never made, yes. So it was interesting, and we being an overwhelming favorite United, who were already defeated from the championship. So obviously they were wounded and they wanted to strike, and they had a phenomenal team that season or that period of time. So definitely we were underdogs. But to get the goal early, midway through the first half, and to see the team just sustaining the pressure, seeing a old 30, don't know how many year old Neville Southall jumping in the air, flipping and catching the ball. It was really, those tears were.
And it was quite heavy as well, huh? Southall at that time.
Yeah.
That's the put it
Very
lightly.
heavy.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Healthy guy.
So I don't know, Waitak, how you feel, but those tears has been in the tear bank for a long time. Like, it needs to come out again, like that feeling, Hopefully this season somewhere we find that, like, yeah. So it was fantastic. It was a great run. Yeah.
Okay, just to give you the perspective from the Manchester United side, they were without Eric Cantona, Paul Parker, Andre Kanchelskis, and Andy Cole that season. So Cantona, we all know what he did. That's the reason why he was not in that final. Ryan Giggs didn't start. And some of the young ones from the class of 92 were thrown in, Gary Neville, Nicky Butt, and then later as a substitute, Paul Scholes. And this was, of course, the Manchester United team that won the league 2 seasons in a row, just finished that season as runners-up to Blackburn. And they were the defending champions of the FA Cup. But yeah, I agree with you, United did not play well at all in that final. And also, interesting thing to note, that wasn't Everton's last trophy win. What was Everton's last trophy win, guys?
Charity Shield.
Charity Shield. The next season, exactly. Yeah.
Who's the scorer in that Charity Shield
got
match?
the Greeny Samways.
Yes.
Greeny Samways. Yes.
Classic names. He used to play for Tottenham as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So, okay, moving on from 90s to the noughties now. In 2002, you had a certain David Moyes appointed as manager. He kept Everton away from the relegation zone for most parts of his time at the club, and he got them to qualify for a Champions League qualifying round, UEFA Cup, and finished runners-up in the 2009 FA Cup. So what was his period of management like for you guys, Jinder and Waitak? So we'll start with Jinder.
Just prior to Moyes coming in, I think there was too many changes in managerial. I think Walter Smith was there, and somehow Walter Smith had this inking feeling of just getting old folks as in club.
Sorry?
At that period of time, I remember we had what Ginola coming in. We had
Gascoigne as well.
Gascoigne coming in. Mark Hughes coming in. What was that? It was very
odd. Unbelievable,
And when Moyes came in, what he did was he created a sense of belonging and togetherness within the players. They were just average Joes, no literally nobody. A shoestring budget that he had, and he made them into real fighters or real warriors. And to the point, there was a time I think that the season when we finished fourth, we had a negative goal difference, in fact, finishing fourth. And that's because Everton were only winning 1-0. 1-0 to the Everton, 1-0 to the Everton. That was the scoreline that was so common. And that's because David Moyes made us play not pretty football, but at least he got us going. And then slowly he built on the team, brought in good players, and we had to balance the checkbook as well. The departure of Wayne Rooney was painful, I have to admit. We were just happy that he ended up in a club like United. If there's one club he could go to, I think United was the one we were happy he ended up with, and we know what he did for United. But it was tough. It was tough, but slowly the identity was being formed. We were starting to get good players in. We started to have some legends that were created, like Tim Cahill, Mikel Arteta himself, Tim Howard, and that's Fellaini was a good signing as well. I think he scored 30 over goals in about 170 over games. So he had a decent record. And I think
Steven Pienaar,
people starting to Steven Pienaar, and his combination with Leighton Baines was one of the best that I can ever recall. So I would say that he molded fantastic players. But time and again, there was always this part of balancing. We had to let go people like Greberson out. And then it was sad, Arteta also had to leave, Rooney had to leave, but it was such, even Pienaar left and then he came back. But we just had to do what we had to do because we didn't have any sugar daddy then again, I will go back to the 80s and blame one club for that for that reason. So that was how I remember David Moyes' years. When he left, it was quite painful as well because I felt like someone so important to the club who has created a presence and starting to really define Everton as a top 5, top 6 team. And I thought we could build on that. Just needed a good financier and investor, which was already on the talks. And the new stadium was also the talks that was going to be out there soon. So we were going places, but unfortunately, Moyes' departure created another sense of instability that we are still facing until today. Yeah.
Waited yourself?
Yeah, I think I think David Moyes was the perfect manager for Everton at that time. Because David Moyes is someone that really stresses a lot on discipline and hard work. On the training field, he makes your team run more than any other. So it makes it more together than any other. So they become very difficult to beat. And I think Everton at the time is exactly a team like that. We didn't have many star players, but we had a very hardworking team that was ready to go all out. And just like David Moyes, when he went to Manchester United, maybe his style and his philosophy didn't quite fit with Man United, because Man United is a totally different ball game. They have got big players and all that. See, and maybe now West Ham United is more to his cup of tea. And so at that time it was a fantastic period to be an Everton fan. To be honest, we weren't winning trophies. We weren't winning the league championships and all that, but we were punching way above our weight. Imagine an average team that was supposed to be, maybe in the lower half of the table, and we managed to get to the Champions League. That's like very hard to actually reach that kind of thing. And we had certain players that really fit the dynamic of the team. Lee Carsley, Thomas Greberson, very hardworking players who give it all. And our striker was Marcus Ben. Can you imagine a Champions League team with a striker of Marcus Ben?
Andy Johnson as well, right? You had Andy Johnson.
Slightly later part, yes.
Yeah.
But that just going to show that how the hard work can get you through, can win you games. And like Jinder said, we won 1-0 for something like 7 games in a row. We were unbeatable. That feeling. It was just crazy. We keep winning 1-0, and we have such a confidence that's why in the end we managed to get into the Champions League. And so it's just a fantastic, and just a symbol of the team, Thomas Greberson. He was so good that Real Madrid bought him.
Yes.
When can
one of the most peculiar signings.
Exactly. When can you find a time Real Madrid buy an Everton player? It's like striking Toto. It's never gonna happen. And that's how good he was. That's what happened. So it's fantastic. Yeah.
It's like Gary Lineker left Everton to join Barcelona. Is that
Barcelona,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. But now we are buying Real Madrid and Barcelona players
Sorry,
now.
yeah.
Yeah,
We are a big club
he's coming
nowadays.
back.
I hope
And
so.
yeah, Fellaini was a handful. And before that, in fact, even the 90s, I would have to give a shout out to Duncan Ferguson. He was a real handful in the
Yeah,
air.
he-
What a player. You don't want to mess with him.
You know,
Exactly.
there's I was in Goodison Park in 1997, and Ferguson was I think there already, and
Yeah.
I was at the training ground, and I remember this reporter coming up to me, "Hey, who would you like to meet?" And I said Duncan Ferguson. He said, "Are you sure? He's scary. He's really scary." Then I got worried, one little kid going there. Oh, what is he going to, and I had the fortune to also see Howard Kendall at that period of time. He was a manager at that period. And then the reporter came to me and said, actually, my friend, you don't have to worry. He's only tough on the reporters, but with the fans, he's a damn gem of a person. And he welcomed us. He approached me and my dad, gave me his autograph, and then took a picture. And I must say, he's really a people's person. He really brings the fans together. And what he's doing at the club right now, I think, hasn't gone unnoticed. We hope someday when he's ready, he'll be the next manager for the club. Yeah.
Jinder, do you remember the time when Everton came to Singapore for the Barclays Asia Trophy?
Yes,
Just
2015.
a few years ago. Yeah, and Duncan
Yeah,
Ferguson was
2015.
there. And you remember how he interacted
Yeah.
with the fans. He was one of the, the greatest, right? He
Yes.
was like so sociable and everyone was dying to have a piece of him.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
Who was it again? Sorry,
Yeah.
waiter, I didn't catch that.
Duncan
Duncan
Ferguson,
Ferguson.
when he
Duncan
came to
Ferguson.
Singapore
All right.
with
right.
Everton.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
sociable with the fans, he was great. Yeah.
Waiter, do you have any stories like that of encountering any stars in your visits to Goodison Park?
Yes, I did
Yes.
actually. In fact, I asked Harjinder for advice, about going to Goodison Park, because he went before me. And it was about a few years ago, I went to Goodison and it was fantastic. They really, the People's Club, the people, they really tried to arrange some of the stars to meet us. I was there with Tommy, the chairman. And I actually met Steven Pina. And I mean, because he was at the time my favorite player for Everton. And I just happened to meet him at Goodison, and he was really nice. I mean, he was really shy. I told him, Steven, you're my favorite player, and then he looked at me like he don't know what to say. He's like so shy and everything. And then I took a photo with him. And he's really very friendly and very nice. Yeah, it was fantastic. And then I actually also met some of the players like John Stones, even Roberto Martinez, the Everton manager.
Okay.
And he was nice. He was down to earth. Asked us how is Singapore, because they are going to go there for the Barclays Asia Trophy. And just
Russ and
unforgettable time.
Kevin, would you believe it if I tell you I actually partied with the Everton players?
Wow.
I think you told me this story before.
In Everton?
No,
Sorry,
this
Liverpool?
sounds wrong, but it was in Bangkok.
Okay. Sounds dubious already.
Yeah. So David Moyes was the manager, and I went in all out, stayed in the same hotel. And then when they were at the lounge after the game and there were no Everton fans, it was just me and another bloke. It was like, are we dreaming? These players are singing songs for us. And, I just sat with them, chat with them. It was unbelievable. And David Moyes was just watching over them like a hawk, no one misbehaves. Everybody just had their drink and then they went back to the room. But yeah, those were some memories.
Good memories. Who can tell these stories? You party with your team players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They became your mates.
Yes.
All right.
In Bangkok as well.
What did I say?
I say in Bangkok as well.
Oh. Okay, waiter. If I have to ask you this, I've got to ask you this. In fact, which game epitomized the David Moyes era? One match that would epitomize David Moyes' style, everything about the era. Which one would you name?
Okay, I would say the opening game of the 2012 season. That was the game when, very sorry, Ras and Kelvin.
Okay, I remember.
Manchester United. And it was the first game of the season, and against all
Fellaini,
odds,
right?
at Goodison.
Yeah.
Well, exactly right, Calvin.
Yeah.
Fellaini.
Fellaini,
He was the one who scored the winner when Everton beat Man United 1-0.
Yeah.
And guys, that was like it was Everton was such an underdog at the time. To beat Man United 1-0 was like, Torquay United beating Manchester City. So something like that, lah.
That's an exaggeration.
No, no.
It's gonna take a while for us to be
That game was really David Moyes' game. Everton was like we went all out. We were on skill level, of course, we cannot compare with United, but our effort, our team spirit that day was so powerful that we managed to beat United. And the player we were talking about, Marouane Fellaini, the guy who has connection on both sides now. I mean, that guy played like a god that night. I tell you, he was everywhere. He was dominating, winning every ball. And the winner he scored was he went over Michael Carrick. Sad to say lah. He really pulverized Michael Carrick with a header. And that game was just unbelievable game for me, and I'll always remember it. Yeah.
Okay, Jindal, yourself?
I've actually got two games in particular. The first one was against Liverpool in 2009 when Andy Johnson scored a couple.
3-0.
Team Cahill as well, 3-0. Yeah, I will never forget that game. Liverpool had most of the possession, but David Moyes kept the team compact. And when we could hit them on the break, we really hit them. And who was the keeper? Liverpool keeper, Reina, right?
Reina,
Was
yes.
it
Reina.
Yeah. That last error he made leading up to Johnson's goal, that just put the icing on the cake.
That was fantastic, wasn't it, Jinta?
That was fantastic. Yeah. The second game, unfortunately, is against United as well. But this was, I think, 2011-2012, where we
4-4.
were 3-1 down. Then we went on to equalize 4-4.
At Old Trafford.
And I was, Old Trafford. I was watching this game with a couple of United fans. My brother was one of them.
Fellaini again, I think, scored a couple.
Fellaini, Pina, Jelavic, and so that two game lah. And one thing that always happens when David Moyes takes on a Manchester City team was at that point in time they were always afraid of us. I think no one has a better record against City than David Moyes. We always head to the Etihad. Strangely, our record there was very good under David Moyes. So it was just David Moyes' style of play. He knew what he wanted, and this exact same replica of player management, he's doing it at West Ham at the moment. And when I see Souček, he just reminds me of Graverson and Carsley put together. Tough work, but not pretty done. So, and I think he's a great fit to West Ham at this moment in time. So, these three games, United, Liverpool, and the City games.
All right, cool. Okay, guys, one last question before we round up this section. Your all-time favorite Everton player, Waited.
Okay, for me, it has to be Graham Sharp. Yeah, he was it's like when I started watching Everton, 86, and he was the main man, he was the main striker. And it was like a marriage made in heaven. My favorite player, favorite team, it just gelled together. Because of the way he laid the line, he's a big, strong guy, good in the air, but also good on the ground. Also a good-looking guy, so... well, I say I cannot compare to you. So that's it for me, yeah.
Okay, Jindal?
Mine's got to be Tim Cahill. I think he's one of the best ever signing for us. Short, but what a piece of heading ability he has. Always at the right time, at the right place, and not just there. When he plays, he puts his 100% in any game. Full of passion, full of tackles, and I think he really signifies the way Everton plays their football at that period of time. Full of passion, and till today, he's always saying the right words, even on social media, supporting the club, and one day we may never see Junior Cahill playing for us. We may see Junior Cahill playing for us. In fact, he's in the academy, if I'm not right, correct?
I believe so. Yes, hopefully.
Yes,
you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right.
Yep.
All right, guys. All right. That was some wonderful memories that you shared with us from the 80s all the way to the noughties. So thanks a lot, guys, for sharing your memories. it must have been a wonderful jog down memory lane for the both of you.
It is.
I'm not sure I can sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Too much adrenaline.
Okay, wait, I know you have you've got quite a singing voice. Wait,
Only in the shower.
could you give us a chorus of Everton's anthem to round
Oh.
up this section?
Oh, okay. Everton Centre, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Jinder, you can join in.
Can lah. Don't sing Chinese song enough. Huh?
Indian song, we got.
Hey, Everton got Chinese song.
Remember, we had a Chinese sponsor. Maybe they created one.
yeah,
We don't know.
Okay. It's a grand old team to play for.
Play for
It's a grand old team to support.
support.
And if you
And
know
if
your
you know
history,
your history.
it's enough
It's
to make your
enough to
heart
make
go.
your heart
Go. We don't care what the red side
Red
say.
side say.
What
What
the hell do
the
we
heck do we
care? Cause
care?
it all
Cause we
just know
only
when
know
the time
there's
to
gonna
go.
be a show.
And it's
And the
Everton boys
Everton
were there.
there.
Nice.
that's not Jinder.
Fantastic, guys. Good spot.
Amazing.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, pleasure, guys.
So with
I would
that,
like
we
to say-
bring
I
to
would
the
like to
end.
say your anthem is so much nicer than the "You'll Never Walk Alone" anthem.
That one lah.
I don't disagree.
That one bring real tears lah. I tell you.
Real tears, sweat.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we bring to the end this section. And in section 2, Kelvin Singh is going to bring you to the present, talk to you about today's Everton. And we'll see you after this short break.
Okay, cheers, guys.
Welcome back to Backpass with Ras. We have Jinder alongside Waiter. Really, really touching moment when you guys were singing your Everton anthem to close off the first part. Man, I'll tell you the truth, man. 70% of what you said earlier, I wasn't even born then.
I feel old, man.
Waiter started with the BBC radio. I was like, man, I wasn't even there, man.
Oh man, BBC radio Saturday 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
no.
remember those days as well. Even in the early 90s, yeah.
Yeah.
I only remember the first day I can remember. I think the players were like, I think Yakubu was playing striker and like Thomas was Gravison was there. So that period I remember. Quite. I think early 2000s I started noticing Everton. But that brings me to the present, guys. Right now, I'll start with Jinder, guys. Jinder, the Everton season going on right now. How do you think the season is going so far?
It just started today.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, it just started today, guys. What a win yesterday was. Rather early this morning. And I think it was long deserving. If you hear Martin Tyler and commentary, every single Evertonian feels it's been a tough start. We started well, but Rafa has had it very unlucky with so many injuries, so much uncertainty behind the boardroom and the management at the back. We got rid of Marcel Brands, and actually, I think a lot of fans are still questioning whether that's good decision or bad, but that's only for time to come, and we will know. But I would love to say, I hope we can build on this momentum after last night's victory, and we can probably head towards this busy period where the boxing fixtures are going to come, and we can pull on a couple of victories together and then push ourselves up the table and end the season decently well. And with the January transfer window coming, I'm looking forward to a couple of signings. Calvin obviously will feel like a brand new signing when he comes back. Fella has been missing for too long, right? So that's how I feel. I think Waiter has got more emotions. Maybe he had a few more tears after that. I do not know.
Different kind of tears.
I thought it did pretty well last night.
They did.
I think I'm looking at the team right now. I think they're starting to play well. I think most of them were injured, so they're all coming back right now. So I think they have a decent squad. Coming to my second question, guys, maybe I start with Waiter. Best player in the team right now for you?
Yeah, I think definitely Demarai Gray. we are seeing 50 Shades of Grey, you know. Right, and, no, I mean, seriously, it has not been a very good season overall, you know, and not many players have been really shine. But Demarai Gray is one of them that has consistently shown his worth. And seriously, when we bought him, I personally wasn't too excited, you know, because I thought all along he was quite inconsistent, you know, talented but didn't show it much, you know, at Leicester City, you know, not really. And of course, we bought him for something like 1.5 million pounds. You know, we didn't have much money we could spend, and we managed to get him. And the way he has played is just totally above above my expectations. You know, he has been really fast. You know, he has shown his dribbling ability. He's willing to take people on. You know, something that we haven't had for quite some time. You know, a true winger. You know, who can cross the ball, who can also play through the center. And it's just a breath of fresh air. His turn of pace has actually managed to take a lot of defenders by surprise, you know, and he scored a few good goals, you know, just like this morning. And yeah, it's shooting a great for us. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Who's your best player in the team right now?
I would say Richarlison. I think Richarlison had a great game yesterday, and when he plays with his heart, and then he start making smart decisions. Sometimes Richarlison he doesn't think before he does, you know, and that gets him to have many average games. But when he plays with full passion, like yesterday, the invisible hat trick that he had, I still believe he was two proper clean goals, but that's the topic for another day. But I love the character. I think he plays wearing that badge, and I think he plays for the club, and I really look forward each time he plays, because I think he's like a Tim Cahill, full of character, and gets the team going, and he just somehow when he's electrifying, somehow Everton plays better. So
I saw him play yesterday, and he looked like he was bullying the Arsenal defense at one point of time. You know, they couldn't get enough of him. This guy was just coming on and on towards them. It's crazy, and I agree with you. What a player he is right now. Very, very, what do you call, enigmatic player, I say.
Yeah. He is.
Okay, going back to Waituk, Rafa Benitez coming in this season with some interesting signings. You had Townsend, Demarai Gray, we spoke about it. Demarai Gray now looks like a good business for 1.5 million. A couple more interesting signings. But what are your thoughts about the current bunch of players in the team as a whole and the manager?
Yeah, I think, you know, generally, I think we have got a decent team now with a good manager. You know, I was quite happy to get Rafael Benitez because he has pedigree. As much as I hate to say it, he did very well at Liverpool, you know. And but the thing, I think we are suffering a bit now because of the history we have had you know, over the last few years, you know, with the constant changing of managers. You know, because when we keep changing managers so often, you know, every manager comes in, he wants to put his own philosophy onto the team. He wants to buy his own players. And then we have the money to spend. So he goes and buys a lot of good players. And then somehow after a while, we can't seem to get the results. And then the board kind of panics, sacks the manager, brings a new manager in, and he wants to bring his own philosophy in and brings his own players in. So the old players kind of get, you know, left out, you know. And we keep doing this a few rounds, and you know, we're not going anywhere. We come back to square one, you see. And now our starting striker is Salomon Rondon, you know, who was Salomon Rondon. And to be frank, for a club that is as rich as Everton, spends so much money on players, and to end up with a starting striker as Salomon Rondon, you know, something is a little bit wrong. You know, and because our friend is
he came for free, right?
Yes, he came for free. I believe he came for free, and he was playing in the China league. You know,
yeah.
So that shows the problem there. We have not been able to have a sustainable period of our philosophy building up. You know, sticking with the plan. There's no long-term plan, and that's why right now we are still a little bit caught back at square one. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, man, Demarai Gray for 1.5 million, and the way he played yesterday, I was thinking to myself, how many clubs have actually missed the opportunity to sign that guy? And what a good signing, I think. I also think Doucouré, I think he came last season, if I'm not wrong, but Doucouré is also you know, a really dynamic player, box-to-box player, which is really good. Moving on to Jinder, you mentioned just earlier Marcel Brands getting the sack. which actually came as a surprise, though. Nobody expected the director of football getting the sack. But hey, Jinder, if you were given that post, the director of football job in Everton, what would you do differently right now?
Are we going for a holiday? Right?
Much needed.
No, all jokes aside, I think there's obviously some truth in the works that Brands has done that has caused a lot of issues and the financial fair play as he does really hard. It's not a question of us not having any money. It's not us not able to spend that money. I think Moshiri, our chairman, investor, has really pumped in a lot of money, and I agree with Waitek. The instability of hiring and firing has caused a major issue, and Brands is probably not coming in at a point where he's supposed to be. The role of a football director is basically being the man who is in middle of the manager and the board. So his role is basically to understand the style of the manager's play and understand what are the gaps, and then recommend the players that will be useful to the team. And I think this was an area that probably was not followed through, and it left to a point where players were coming in and those were Master Brands signing. So it wasn't a case of fitting in players that could fit into the Everton team and the manager's style of play. So if I was the football director, obviously I need to understand what exactly is Rafa's style. And where are the gaps that I think he needs support in, and find the right fit of players that will support him rightfully. I think there's an issue right now with Digne. We're hearing reports that there is a rift between him and maybe because Digne is not able to follow up with the style of Rafa's plays. So that is something Rafa needs to sort out quite immediately. So given the chance, instead of just looking handsome and good sitting in the stands, attending every game, I think I need to know exactly what are the players I need to sign. Solomon Rondon is obviously not the solution. United got Ronaldo, we got Rondon. How irony is that? Irony of it all. I think any Evertonian, any proper Evertonian can be a real good proper football director. If his job is just to get players, but I think the job entails a lot more responsibilities, and that is something that you need the right character. I think we can live without a football director for the moment. Let's stabilize the team. And David Moyes didn't have one when he was around, but he exactly knew who he wanted, and I think Rafa can do that job for now.
Let's say you can sign let's say you are the director of football heading into the January market. You can sign 2 players. Which 2 players you think would fit nicely for the Everton team right now?
I say Kelvin is a good signing.
Hey, thanks, bro.
He's certainly young enough.
Hey, Ralph, you heard that, yeah?
I strongly believe we actually have a very good team. We just need a couple of additions to just make sure that we have enough backup. I think that the issues when we had our key players out caused that part where we did not have good ability players on the bench. So if money was not an issue, I think we can sign a lot of players. We need definitely, I feel that in defense, there needs to be a lot more tightening. Yerry Mina he's a good player, but he goes missing too many times. And Michael Keane is not consistent. Godfrey is a good defender, but I think he has not decided whether he will make a good fullback or good centre back. He's still finding that out. And hopefully Rafa can get the best out.
To Tomiyasu, his Kung Fu kick.
Yes.
Wow,
I saw that karate kick to the Japanese.
The Japanese guy felt it, man.
Yeah. So I don't have a name of a particular player that I would like to bring in because I believe we will have some money to spend. It's just sad that we got rid of a player like King, Joshua King. I think he would have made a lot of difference in that period where Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison were missing. I still think he's a great striker. So whoever made that decision to get him for 6 months and then get him off needs to get one tight slap.
Yeah.
Correct, Waitek?
I think it was a Carlo Ancelotti move, wasn't it?
He became He became a king after he left Everton. He got a
Yes.
hat-trick against us. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh man. Waiter, going back to you. Everton this season we mentioned lost a lot of players to injuries. Especially the Calvin Dominic. What's his name? CDM.
Dominic
Calvert-Lewin.
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 Your man, I always like jumble up his like three names.
Too long.
A lot of players was injured this season. Which player do you think the team missed the most?
Yes, I think Calvert-Lewin, to be
Calvert-Lewin.
frank. Yes, I think because Everton, the way they play, I think they need a mobile target man, and they need someone who's good in the air. Calvert-Lewin is a rare breed. He's quite big, he's quite tall, but he's also quite fast. And he is more or less able to link the play up, coming a bit deep. So without him, suddenly you find that there's no focal point up front. And when you don't have that, it's very hard to build up attacks. You lose possession. Yeah, you can't find any offensive penetration, and the other team can get a stranglehold on the game. And also partly because we don't have the depth up front. Our reserve is Rondon. We don't really have another striker. I mean, we have the young players like Ellis Sims, Lewis Dobbin, but for some reason or other, Rafael Benitez doesn't really trust the youth. So he sticks with Rondon. Maybe it's because he doesn't want to follow Marcel Brand's philosophy of grooming the young. Could be, but and in the end we don't quite have the depth. So that has the area that I felt we were lacking. Yeah.
Interesting you said that. Okay, staying with you, Waiter. Last question from me. Where do you think Everton will finish this season? Your predictions.
Okay, it's a golden moment.
Golden moment, I'm just like.
Okay, I actually think we'll finish 7th. I'm quite optimistic. Like Jinder said, I believe we do have a good team. And we need to show the consistency. We can't be like playing like we're world beaters against Arsenal, and then the next 2 games we look like a totally different team. It's quite amazing. But if we can sustain and get back our confidence that we showed at the start of the season, with Benitez having a bit of time to stabilize, with some players coming back from injury, I think we can just about squeeze into the final Europa League spot or something like that.
Interesting you said that. All the best. Jinder, what do you think?
I think they'll finish above Liverpool.
Oh,
Nice.
All right,
That is an
man.
awesome.
nice.
That's the way.
To be real, I believe 7 or 8 will be quite a good finish, considering where we are now and how things have been going. So hopefully this is a start of a good run to come, and brings us into 2022 with a consistent run, and hopefully a high up finish, as high as possible. And that will allow some form of stability. But I'm still not 100% convinced with Rafa, but I'm willing to give him that chance because I think he hasn't had the opportunity to buy much. The little that he has had, that has been really some shrewd investment in Demarai Gray and Andros Townsend. And I think the fact that we got rid of some heavyweights like James Rodriguez, Moise Kean, and obviously there's some money left. And I think Rafa would have done his homework knowing exactly who he wants to sign. And I believe there will be a couple of additions in January, and that will just strengthen us. So I'm quite optimistic of a 7-8 position.
Fantastic. I just hope they don't end up above United, which is also equally bad.
Tough, very tough.
Not really playing football these days, I don't know what they're playing, but
I do hope Wenderby comes over though. I think he's a proper talent.
I wouldn't mind that.
oh, you can take him, man. You can take him. No problem, man. We will happily give it to you. If I was the director of football, I would have given it to you, man. Like, take it. But thank you guys. Thank you so much for sharing all your insights. We are now moving on to the final segment. It is my trivia questions. Don't worry, really, really easy questions. I'll just need to, test your brains out and see if you are really what you say, the diehard Everton supporters. So you should be able to get this right. I will start with Jinder first.
Okay.
Jinder, which player has the most Premier League goals for Everton? Here are my options first.
Romelu Lukaku.
Man, here are my options first. Okay, yeah, you're right. 68 goals. Google this. How do you know?
What are your options?
But actually, good. I wanted to trick him with Duncan Ferguson, so it's like it's okay, no problem. Moving on to Waiter. Here are my
Yeah.
options first before answering. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe give
of
your
these-
options first, then you ask the question.
No, I cannot.
Too obvious. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we try the flip round. Yeah. Okay. My options are Nick Powell. Option B, Nick Carter. Option C, Nicki Minaj. And option D, Nick Bambi. Which of these players played for both Everton and Liverpool?
For sure, it's not Nicki Minaj. The answer will be Nicky Bambi.
Nick Bambi
Yeah,
is
Nick Bambi,
absolutely
yeah.
right. He played for Everton first, then he went to Liverpool. Very strange. I didn't
Yeah.
know he could do that.
We'll never forget any players that plays for both Everton and Liverpool. We'll never forget them.
There were actually a couple of them. They were actually, I actually Googled this. Abel Xavier was one of them. I remember
Yeah,
Abel
Abel Xavier.
with
Wow.
his very questionable fashion sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Gary Ablett. Gary Ablett. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Go back to the questions first, and then we're going to start with questions, then the options. Yeah, here are my options first, Jinder.
Yes.
What was the original name of Everton Football Club? Okay. What was the original name of Everton Football Club before it became Everton Football Club? Option A, San Domingo FC. Option B, Merseyside Heroes. Option C, Toffees United. Option D, Stanley Park Rovers.
Option E, the best team in Merseyside. No, I would say
They have
I was-
Merseyside Heroes if you want to go for that.
I would say A, San Domingos.
Fantastic. That's the correct answer. San Domingos, I think they were 1878 or something like that.
1878, that's right.
1878. Crazy. I had to Google this twice to make sure this was the correct name that, I was like, wait a minute. Is this a Latin club or no? But it's okay. Moving on. Waiter, where did the club first play their home games? Okay. Option A, Farrer Park. Option B, Queen's Park. Option C, Stanley Park. Or option D, Anfield.
Yeah, okay.
Punggol Park.
Punggol Park.
I used before, so I rejected that Punggol Park.
Got no Bukit Timah Park. Okay, just much to everyone's surprise and maybe even amazement, I think the answer is D, Anfield. Was it right?
Anfield is actually in 1885. They actually played in Stanley Park, 1878
Oh, okay.
to 1882.
Oh, yeah,
So
okay,
Stanley
okay.
Park first, and then they went on to Anfield. You're absolutely right. They played in Anfield, and then after they put out, Liverpool came in. So hey, man, you guys first dips to Anfield, man. Tell all the Liverpool guys.
Yeah, man.
Just had to get that in.
Jinder,
Yes.
which homegrown player made his full debut against Tottenham Hotspurs on 17 August 2002, age 16? Option A, Ross Barkley. Option B, Wayne Rooney. Option C, Harry Styles. Option D, Francis Jeffers.
Oh yeah, Francis Jeffers, man. What a name.
Francis Jeffers.
2002,
So,
right? You mentioned.
Homegrown player, played against Tottenham Hotspurs, 17 August 2002, aged 16 years old.
He's got to be Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney is absolutely right. So, but his record got beaten by this guy called Thierry Smalls now. Thierry Small or something.
Yeah. One
But
game.
of course, Wayne Rooney made his debut against Tottenham Hotspur. But everyone can remember his famous goal against Arsenal.
Arsenal, yeah.
What a goal it was against David Seaman as well. Oh my God, it was just
Yeah.
unbelievable. Okay, anyways, moving on. Waiter, who was the manager of Everton before David Moyes? Option A, Walter Samuel. Option B, Walter Johnson. Option C, Jonathan Walters. Or option D, Walter Smith.
Walter Samuel, what an option.
Johnny Walker.
I'm just gonna take a chance and say it's probably Walter Smith.
Walter Smith is absolutely right. If you chose Walter Samuel, we will all be scratching our head. And it will be an Argentine.
He was a player at that time. He wasn't
Yeah,
even mentioned.
Actually, yeah.
Okay. Okay, this one, Jinder, for you, yeah, for you. Listen carefully, okay, Jinder.
Okay.
Who are Everton arch enemies? Listen to the options first, okay? Who are Everton arch enemies? Option A, Man United. Nah, I don't think it's Man United. Option B, Southall United. Option C, Liverpool. Or option D, themselves.
Wow. I like the last option. The obvious is Liverpool.
Liverpool.
But I think before yesterday was themselves.
You're not wrong.
Prior to that, Southall United had a beef with them as well. Okay, waiter, moving on to you. What was Duncan Ferguson's nickname in Everton? Listen to the option first. Option A, Big Funk. Option B, Kung Fu Dunk. Option C, Big Dunk. Or option D, Fergalicious.
I'm quite a big fan of Fergalicious.
Fergalicious?
I got to say it's option C, Big Dunk.
Big Dunk is absolutely right. I was hoping you chose Fergalicious. You know, it's a famous song for the Black Eyed Peas. That's how
I like it.
It was actually quite groovy as well. Okay. This is Jinder. Moving on to you. Everton's slogan is, correct me if I'm not wrong, Nil Satis Nisse Optimum.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's right.
What does it mean? Option A, we are a good football club. Option B, nothing but the best is good enough. Option C, it's just a game. Option D, walk with you all the way.
Wow, quite contradictory. Not correct. I think going in line with Liverpool, the last one.
Last one, not bad, right? You never walk with you all the way. It's the same. Everybody run.
Right. I would say we believe in the best. Nothing but the best is good enough for us. Not bad, hopefully soon.
Yeah, but it's really nice. When I found this meeting, I was like, whoa, it's like pretty interesting. Now I know, right? So you can bring me to like Everton trivia question night. I will nail this, man. Okay, last question. Waiter, what is the name of the building on Everton's badge? Okay, what is the name of the building on Everton's badge? Option A, Prince Charles Tower. Option B, Prince Harry Tower. Option C, Prince William Tower. Or option D, Prince Rupert Tower.
Okay, the answer is Prince Rupert Tower.
Fantastic. I thought it was actually a difficult question, but man, you didn't even think twice. Just like Charles, William, all these, you know.
I was going to say Harry Styles, but I
So Prince Rupert is absolutely right. And I'm not sure if any of you, do you know the meaning why they had the Prince Rupert Tower on the logo?
Yes, yeah.
I believe it's a prison. Correct me. Wait, that's where.
Yes, I believe there's a landmark of this Rupert Tower, somewhere in Liverpool, that can't quite remember the history behind it, but that kind of symbolized the Everton team.
Fantastic. I also found out a fun fact why you guys are called the Toffees. Any idea?
Yeah. You are you know her very well, right? Waited, the toffee lady.
Yeah.
You and her had a business plan of distributing toffees, right? Many years ago. And that's how it came about, through the toffee lady.
Through a toffee lady, yes, through a nearby sweet shop. Yeah, interesting fact. Okay, guys, that wraps up my question. Thank you so much for playing and and answering this question so well. It's amazing. We learned so much of insights from you guys, Everton supporters, really passionate. I told you the first part I didn't get it, but the second part, your insights, especially Waiter with his signings, and Jinder, I hope you get a director of football job. It'll be a real. I will join you as well. Russ.
Yeah, one fun fact I found out as well when I was doing my research is that Paul McCartney is an Everton fan. That's nice.
Yeah.
For me, the Beatles is the best thing out of Liverpool. So nice to know at least someone doesn't support Liverpool in that group.
Amen to that.
Do you know Sylvester Stallone is also an Evertonian?
Wow.
Interesting.
That's interesting. I didn't know that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for taking your time out to speak to us. And it's been a pleasure and an honor as well to have you speaking with us on our last show of 2021.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you,
guys.
Kevin.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to be on the show, Ras and Kelvin.
Yeah,
we really enjoyed talking to you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Waiter.
Hey, thanks, Jinder, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I hope you catch our previous episodes as well. We've got quite a few, so over the remaining parts of this year, probably you could have some time out. Maybe you could catch up on some of our episodes as well, and the content that we have on our social media pages. So, anyways, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas in advance and a Happy New Year as well.
Ditto.
Pardon?
Ditto. Same.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Same as well from our resident young man, 30 years old. 30 years old. That's how he is. How old
31,
he
bro,
is.
31. Thanks for calling me. Thanks for reducing my age by 1 year.
Okay, still. All right.
I love you for that. I think Jinder, on the side note, I think Jinder and Waiter going to have a private call together with each other just to discuss more on Everton after this.
We could go on all night. Huh?
Yeah, we can go all night, man. We got those memories. Hopefully, some happy tears end of the season.
100%.
That happened in '95.
Hopefully, it's been too long.
Maybe beating United again at Wembley. The FA Cup.
No, man,
Beat Liverpool. Beat Liverpool.
Beat Liverpool. Don't beat us.
Yeah. We are no longer the strongest team anymore. Now it's Liverpool
Yeah, man.
or City. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It's a wrap. Thanks a lot once again. And see you next year.
All right. Signing out from Goodison Park. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Yes.